Hello everyone, and thanks for tuning into the 11th and final Summer 2023 update from GavsWeatherVids. So here we are, we've come to the end of our summer updates. Once this video update is done, then that's it. We'll be on our way to the summer forecast. So we will have one seasonal roundup left to do next Saturday. So we get all of the long range models together for the final time this season. That will be ahead of the summer forecast being released on the next day, Sunday the 28th of May. So we're basically at the end now. It's been an epic journey of updates, but we've still got this one to do for you. It's going to be a QBO special, and I shall get on a bit for you in a moment. Just to say that the first video today was our 6 AM UK weather forecast, and we've got 10 to 14 day coming up for you later on today as well. So if you could, please like, share and subscribe on the videos. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Thank you so much Richard for the amazing Summer 2023 updates gift. Thank you so much Richard, I love it. I love it. Creepy the Crab and Gavin the Sunbather in his Speedos. I don't know, dear, this will be the last time you see Gav in his Speedos. And I bet you're relieved about that. No, thanks to Shona Richard for the summer updates gift. And also thanks to Shona Shryan as well. Shryan Bruin sorted out all of these years for us for this update. So thank you so much to Shryan, thank you so much to Richard. Hashtag Team Gav. It's been an epic run, hasn't it, for hashtag Team Gav this season of summer updates. So not forgetting, of course, Terry as well. Terry, Richard, and also Shryan. Thank you so much, hashtag Team Gav, for an epic season of summer updates. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because we've still got this update to do. So with that said, I'll turn off the webcam and we'll get right, okay, let's start off then here. So this is the QBO index from going all the way back to 1948. The Quasi-Biennial QBO oscillation is, of course, a season index that's oscillating, you know, between westerly and easterly QBO phases. So when you're in a westerly QBO, you strengthen the zone of westerlies. When you're in an easterly QBO, you weaken the zone of westerlies, basically. It's primarily a winter driver, but we do look at it all year round as well, because it is one of the important drivers of the weather. So this is the QBO page from NOAA, as I say, depicting each month's worth of a QBO number. You see that 2022 started off with an easterly QBO, indicated by these negative numbers here. The easterly QBO reversed during the summer and into the autumn that 2022 went into a westerly phase of the Quasi-Biennial Oscillation, sort of mid to late summer. And the westerly QBO then carried on through into the winter of 2022. And also 2023, it has continued into the spring of 2023. So far we have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and when we add in this month, May, 11 months with a westerly QBO. We are drawing to the close, therefore, of this westerly QBO phase, probably, almost certainly, unless the easterly QBO fails, which it has done a couple of times in the last decade. We had a failure of the easterly QBO in 2015 and into 2016, just here. So this period just here, the westerly QBO carried on through 2016 and in 2017. 2016-17 should have been an easterly QBO winter. We had another failure of the easterly QBO in 2020, actually, or 2021. You know, the easterly QBO become a little bit more unreliable than it should have done. You would expect it to be, but I think we are going to go quite nicely into the easterly QBO phase this time. And I would expect that to happen during this summer, maybe later on in summer. June, July might still be westerly QBO, but by August, certainly September, we should be moving on into the easterly QBO phase. You can see this with NASA very nicely that we are, so with this you have to think that these are the layers of the atmosphere. So it's like the top of the atmosphere, stratosphere at 10 HPA. This is the boundary level of the atmosphere that we call the troposphere, where weather is taking place, 13 to 50 HPA. So the blue-green colours indicating easterly QBO phases, the sandy brown colours indicate westerly QBO phase. You can actually see the last failure of the easterly QBO just here. Even this westerly QBO phase just here, that's 2020. So that is when we should have transition 2020-2021 into the ECQBO. We did eventually get there, and through 2021 into 2022, that was our last sort of ECQBO phase, just here indicated by these green-blue colours descending from the stratosphere and down into the troposphere. Of course, now we're back in westerly QBO phase again, so you can see how westerly QBO has been dominating from the stratosphere to the troposphere since around the middle of 2022. And carrying on now into 2023. You can, here, make out the next easterly QBO phase, beginning to gather pace in the stratospheric level and starting to descend now, closer towards the troposphere. Not yet into the troposphere. So at 30 HPA to 50 HPA, we are still solidly within westerly QBO. But you can see that there is a downwards movement going on with the easterly QBO. And as I say, I would expect this easterly QBO, if everything works out, we don't get a failure, I'd expect this easterly QBO to descend into the troposphere, you know, probably through the summer. So that's the basis of what our analogues are going to be looking at for this final summer update. West to east transitioning QBO, easterly QBO summers. So let's do that then. So starting off with 1967. This is our first year with below average heights across Greenland and in the North Atlantic, above average heights bridging in from the Atlantic into West Europe. It's not a particularly good summer, but, you know, most of the summers in the 1960s are really, really bad. Though it's probably one of the better summers, actually, of the 1960s. That's not saying much, but, you know, out of, like, some of them, it's probably at the better end of the range. That's about as much as you can say about the Summer of Love in 1967. And then look at this. We've got the Daddy. The Daddy. Dum 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 Yes, it's the Daddy of Hot Summers. It's 1976. Whoa. What a build-up that was, everyone. So there it is. The summer of 1976 was actually a west to east transitioning QBO summer. And look at it. Just look at that. We saw it last week, of course, when I did a little bit of Daddy Cool. Daddy Cool. Daddy Cool. I'm so sorry, everybody. Yeah, it's high pressure all of the way in the summer of 1976. It's the culmination of the Great Drought that starts at the end of 74. It finishes and culminates the Great Drought in the summer of 76. Long, hot summer. And then, of course, August Bank Holiday weekend, it finally breaks. And we go into an exceptionally wet autumn in 76. But there it is. The Daddy of Hot Summers, 1976, was a west to east transitioning QBO summer. Goodness gracious me. And thank you so much, Richard, for our 1976 Daddy of Hot Summers gift. Thank you so much, my friend. Next up, we've got 1981. So, this summer it's rather cool and dry, an unusual combination for summer. Actually, you know, if it's cool, it's often wet. If it's dry, it's often hot. But you can get deviations of anything. This is one of those years, but does deviate. So the summer of 1981 has an area of above average heights, higher pressure just out to our west, and we bring the wind in from like a northwesterly direction with lower pressure into northern parts of Europe as well. So it has some interesting weather. August is quite warm in 1981, and there are some interesting thundering outbreaks as well during that summer. 1983 is another very hot summer, especially so in July, but also has a hot August as well, and follows quite a cool wet spring, it has to be said. So this one with high pressure again, more or less centred over the top of the UK and Ireland. Lower pressure is away to the north. The jet stream is pushed northwards as well. So that west to east transitioning QBO summer has a very, very hot July. One of the hottest months, and certainly one of the hottest Julys, one of the hottest months on record, and has a hot August as well. Then we've got 1986, which is much more of a downer type summer, although the analogue itself doesn't tell you all that much. It has some lower pressure just there, some higher pressure just there and over there, but it doesn't tell you a great deal about this summer. So June 1986 is actually quite a nice month, not particularly hot, but has a lot of dry, warm weather with high pressure in control throughout most of June 86. It starts to wobble in July, and then August 1986 is a cold, wet washout. No, very much a front-loaded, what we call a front-loaded summer in 1986. 1988 is our next west to east transition QBO summer, and this one is a pretty bad summer as well. It's actually one of the worst Julys of the 20th century, and August and June, they're not as bad as July, but they're not much to write home about. So you can see the below average heights of low pressure engulfing Western Europe there. So just generally quite a cool and unsettled summer. The final summer of the bad run of bad summers from 1985 to 1988. We've got 1991. This is a backloaded summer. So I was just talking about a front-loaded summer a moment ago. This is what we call a backloaded summer. This has most of the warmest and driest weather in the summer, in the latter part in August, and even into September of 1991. It has a cold, wet June. It gets better in July, and the best month of the summer by far is August in 1991. Again, because of that sort of inch-month variation that we see as the summer goes on, the overall analogue doesn't tell you much at all about the summer of 1991. Then we've got 1993. That's our next west to east transitioning QBO summer. This one is similar to 1981 in some degree, in that it has above average heights out to our west, below average heights to our east, wind generally coming in from a northwesterly direction. Has a nice June in 1993, although not a front load summer, because July is the month that really turns quite cool, and also has some very wet weather in the earlier part of the month. Just generally quite a cool month in a cool summer in 1993. Not a great summer, but has a nice June. A long gap then to 2011. So the next time we transition from west to east QBO during the summer is 2011. This one is a very mixed summer, actually. It has like a northern blocking signal within high latitudes, and we stick up a trough of below average heights right over the top of the UK, Ireland, and Western Europe. So that one is a very unsettled summer, quite cool as well. Has a few warmer days here and there, but overall summer 2011 isn't very good. And then we've got 2017, and this is a front-loaded summer again, with below average heights to the north, above average heights to the south. So this one, again, has a lot of very warm, often quite hot weather, and dry too in June of 2017. We see a strong and stable ridge in that particular June. And then July starts to wobble. August becomes cool and wet. So definitely the best of the summer happens early in 2017. And that actually is our last classic front-loaded summer. So it's been a while since we've had a front-loaded summer. And we probably are due one. And then finally, our last summer where we transition from west to east QBO. It's 2021, just a couple of years ago. And this one, again, quite a mix of better weather for in terms of warm, dry weather is later on, actually, in the summer in August, I think. July's not too bad either. June is a little bit wet a lot of the time. I'd say 2021 is probably quite a backloaded summer overall, and has above average heights, within, not exactly northern blocking mode, so the above average heights sort of between Iceland and Scotland this summer and over towards western parts of Russia as well. So much of northern Europe has a relatively anticyclonic summer, but definitely the best of that summer, I think, is later on in August. And that's the final time that we transition from west to east QBO during the summer. Right, so let's just put all that together then, and then we're going to be done with this update. This is how all Junes combined are looking when we are transitioning from the west to the easterly phase of Quasi-Biennial-Oscillation. It is an anticyclonic signal overall for those summers, with above average heights from the Atlantic into Western Europe, below average heights away to our north as well, around Greenland and Iceland. So we kind of envisage a lot of the time, June there is relatively dry and often quite warm. July not quite as good, so we tend to take the higher pressure out into the Atlantic in the Julys and have a tropical low pressure sort of slightly to our north and east, and that would set the wind direction into a little bit more of a northwesterly. So clearly July is not as anticyclonic, and it could sometimes be a little bit on the unsettled side. Again, there will be years that vary with that though. So for example, we've got 1976, we know. We've also got 1983. For example, as well. So, there are some very hot and dry Julys in there, but overall, taking the package as a whole, it does look as though July sort of wobbles, rather. And then, actually, maybe surprisingly, the high pressure comes back again into August. So, this is how all August combined is looking, with above average heights, high pressure went back in, more or less over the top of the UK and Ireland there. Will bring a lot of dry weather. Could often be a little bit on the cool side, I suppose, because the high pressure is kind of centred just to the west of us. So we might bring in quite a lot of northeasterly influences. But I think that's nitpicking. I think overall it does look as though June and August tend to favour higher pressure, with July perhaps having a little bit of a midsummer wobble. This is how the overall analogue looks for all summers combined, following west to east transitioning QBO summers, and it is an anticyclonic signal with above average heights centred in the North Atlantic and more or less over the top of UK and Ireland. Looks quite an unsettled signal for eastern parts of Europe, by the way, and interestingly, the east and southeast Europe looks like that's where the lower pressure tends to be, but often for like the UK and Ireland, high pressure appears to be in the ascendancy there for those summers. But as ever, there are exceptions and variations and whatnot, so that's just how you average it all out between the overall package. Right, we're done. That's it then, everyone. We have come to the end of our summer updates. Goodness gracious me, what a run it's been. We started these summer updates actually back in February when we did our little summer sneaky peeky that Shrine got together for us. We've gone outside the box with Richard. Terry has, had a big influence on the solar aspects of these summer updates when we did the solar special. And I think, pretty much exhausted all avenues. The only thing we've not been able to do is May data, unfortunately, just because of the way the calendar has worked out. We're just a little bit too far away from month's end to be able to pitch where the CT and England weather precipitation is going to land with this May. So unfortunately, we've not been able to do May data, but we've done everything else. It's been an epic season of summer updates. I hope you've enjoyed them. Thank you so much for sticking with these updates as we've gone through this season. And all that's left now is to do the final seasonal model roundup on Saturday. And then next Sunday, a week today, 10 a.m, we will be releasing the GavsWeatherVids Summer 2023 forecast. And then, can you believe it, after that, we're going to be on to autumn updates. Who would have believed that? It's not going to be long, I keep saying, it's not going to be long before we find ourselves counting down to winter updates. They're going to be coming around again before we know it. I know that. So, autumn updates will be starting in June. Of course, we will have the winter 2023-24 NEO forecast coming up for you in June as well. More about that imminently. Any day, I'll have some info about that. And yeah, it's gonna be an epic time. So the summer forecast next week, and the long range bandwagon will then roll on to autumn updates. Thank you so much to Richard, to Terry, to Shryan, hashtag Team Gav for this season of summer updates. This is the final time you will see the summer updates GIF. We've got a special summer forecast GIF for our summer forecast. You'll see that next Sunday, of course. But thank you so much to Team Gav. And with all that said, that is all for now. Thank you so much for sticking with this season of summer updates for the 11th and final GavsWeatherVids Summer 2023 update. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.